Hello. Just give it a second. Let other people sort of move in before I start. So how's everybody doing? If you see me looking this way, it's because the printers are over there. So I'm just trying to see what the progress is on the two prints that is going on. I've been see how many. Let's see how many people are actually on. I wish I get a counter on the actual page itself. Yeah, that's three. Okay. So let me talk about what I've been working on. I guess for the last week or so. I had a problem with I had a problem with the red one. Could find the belt. I guess you guys probably noticed on the stream, it was chewing up the belt pretty badly. So it got to the point where the actual was catching on the flange bearings, and it was making it stalling the motors or the steppers. So I had to fix it today, and then all I did was I took it apart. It was pretty quick to replace the belt. I did that, and we're back to printing. Right now, I'm printing a Phil's blue, translucent blue LCD cover that he sent me this afternoon. They wanted me to print it so he could finish the his Haribo build. On the other printer, I'm printing prototype boxes. Basically, vaporizer e-cigarette boxes. It's a side project I picked up, sort of for a local shop. They wanted something designed, built, printed, and manufactured. First time I actually did any sort of work like that, where I did the manufacturing. The It's a learning curve because I'm doing it in Fusion 360, and is I guess there's a bit of learning curve there because I'm used to Tinkercad, and the timeline approach they should be the same, but it was not as intuitive as I was hoping it would be. I've been like having a little issue with learning how to sort of, I guess, layer the different sketches in order, and I guess I'm used to having the ability to do grouping and stuff, which I could do that in Fusion 360, but it doesn't group the actions together, so I can't like and then the whole component situation doesn't really work when you need to share measurements or parameters between components. So yeah, it is probably hindering more now until I get the hang of it. Until I could get more proficient in it. Um, let's see. What else was that? Oh, so I wanted to show you guys. I guess I'll make this full screen. Two things today. One is I one of the reasons why the shop wanted me to try to model this is there was a magnetic switch that was pretty cool. I wanted to show you guys. Basically, what was that this plunger thing. It goes into this magnetic holder, and this magnetic holder, basically when it's like that, it allows you to rock that into the hole itself, and push on this metal ball, which makes contact. The nice thing about this is that this also has a built-in locking mechanism. When you slide it up to hit that ledge, it prevents you from pushing on it, and the whole magnet, like, so that's me pushing on it. The magnet actually acts like the spring on the button, and it's actually pretty cool. And they wanted me to try to model that, or like at least try something similar. So that's what I've been trying to do in the box itself, is to model it. What this was, I think I took the box to picture the inside of the box. So what this is basically this ball that plunger pushes on this ball to make the connection, as a mechanical connection to the connector itself. It's not a very safe way to do it. So what we've been discussing was getting a PCB made so that basically this plunger will hit the button on the PCB. I don't know if I have the PCB. Anyway, I have the PCB somewhere. I'll show you guys maybe on the next stream. So the idea is that the PCB will replace the metal ball that pushes against the connector, and give things like reverse polarity protection and low voltage cutoff and all the other kind of modern stuff that would go into the vaporizer itself. The inside of the box is empty right now. I haven't modeled the inside yet. I kind of want to make sure the trigger button is where they want it, and so it's kind of like I'm going through the entire sort of client acceptance and prototyping phase right now to make sure that the dimension is what they want and all that. So being a one-man band doing the design, the contracting out the PCB design and manufacturing to printing the prototypes and stuff like that is actually pretty time consuming, especially when you have a day job. So once I get a chance to, I kind of understand the whole workflow. I'll probably do another stream talking about like the steps I would take and the questions I ask and so on, so that we started taking it one step beyond just, let's say, operating a 3D hub or selling stuff on Etsy. This is sort of like, how do you approach a business and offer your services as a maker and as a 3D model printer guy, and then also when to sort of make the decision to outsource or bring in partners that has better expertise in certain areas than you, would try to partner up and divide the work, and when to actually try to do the work yourself and so on. I guess I've been doing this, not just the 3D printing thing. I've been doing this sort of custom solution thing for a while. So I think if there's interest in it, I'll share this. I'll share my experiences so that you guys could apply that to whatever home market or your interests are, because there's a lot of different things you could do, right? Not just like these things just came up because my friend of mine runs the shop and he wanted me to look into it. Other things you could do is I was looking at doing was emulators and stuff like that. So basically, console emulators and all that other stuff. So we design boxes for that, and then I want to get into things like portable clusters for big data and all that other jazz. So over the next few streams, I'll probably touch on this for a bit, and then we kind of share my view and my experiences with that. That way, get a variety, not just always talking about 3D printing and models and stuff like that. The other thing I wanted to kind of talk, since I have Rob on the stream, is I want to talk about was, I guess he wanted to go to this thing, all things open, I guess, in North Carolina. So, two things. One is I'm setting a pretty ambitious goal. One is to sort of get the Haribo to stable production level stability, because there's still some issues like I think the documentation in the BOM and other things like the power supply mounts and the multi-material upgrade and all the other stuff that's coming. It might start presenting an issue with clearance and all the other stuff that we have to kind of test. But hopefully by October, when he wants to do the presentation, stuff like that, it'll be stable enough, and we would have had to release it into the wild and see how far it could take off from there. The other ambitious goal is basically to at least have a working prototype for the Haribo Cube. That might be a little harder to attain because right now all of it is in my head and I haven't really put it down on paper. I sort of know what I want to do, but generally these things, stable. Generally these things take take a little while for me to get inspiration on to sort of pop out upon my head and into existence. I see this. I guess that's a good point. Whether I will do custom modified firmware, I haven't came up to that decision yet, and I sort of want to stick with the stock firmware with a few modifications if possible as the first iteration. So at least then we're still sort of utilizing, let's say, the MK42 and the Pinda, even though we may not need skew correction. If we could sort of just leverage the firmware and have the movement change just to sort of the elevated platform idea with just moving the XY on the top, that could be the first iteration. After thinking about it for a while though, like there might be some value in moving away from the firmware, mainly that we could start looking at the new 32-bit boards, like the SmoothieWare firmware on the Smoothie boards and so on. Like I think John was looking at the Duet with the Wi-Fi, and those I think it's more future-proof. I guess that's the word. It's more future-proof. And if we're gonna, and then if the plan ultimately is to move towards a 300 by 300 or even bigger build platform, and in an enclosure, I think moving to a 32-bit board and moving away from sort of being tied down to the Pinda and the MK42 makes sense, because right now, like, even though we went and started getting the clones made, the cost is still high. I mean, for 90 $8. I think that was um like that was the, how to put it, it's really, it's really pricey considering what you get, but it is what it is, and it's needed for the firmware, so we can't move away from that. um just for comparison's sake, what I've been trying to get hold of, and I did order it, and it's getting shipped by Midwest Metals, is a jig plate. So jig plates are cast aluminum plates that is almost perfectly flat. What they do is they cast the aluminum and then they machine it flat, and um, machinists use it to build jigs and to use it as a flat reference surface. And just for comparison, I had bought four, I believe. Let me just have a look. Give me a second. Let me bring up my email and. Oh, so while I do that, I guess I could talk about other things. The I sent my mini Rambo away to Ultimate Machine last week because I was having issue with the connector melting. So what I did was I had it. I had bought that about 2 months, less than 2 months back, and the um, installed it on the second Haribo, and the connector got really hot, actually melted, and started smelling funny. So I stopped it, took it off, looked at it, and it was bad. I mean, it was like the connector arced and melted. So I emailed them and I said, hey, the connector melted. Can I send it back? Have you guys look at it? If it's under warranty or not, and I could get it repaired, because I wasn't comfortable doing the whole like soldering the wires in the back thing, even though I could do it. I just didn't feel like doing it because it was only 2 months old, and I didn't really want to deal with it. So I sent it back, and today I got an email. They asked me to. Well, that reminds me, I had to send them an address. They wanted me to confirm my return address. Basically, what they did is took it back, and they looked at the connector and said it was oxidation on the. It was oxidation on the connector itself, and it was causing the arcing. So the they replaced the connector, and they're gonna send it back to me, and they're gonna cover it under warranty. So the service was impeccable. I mean, the guy followed up with me, told me about why it would melt and stuff like that, and then told me yeah. So maybe I'll share the email later that he sent back, but there was 4 points, and points 2 and 3 was sort of contradictory. it was like either unconstrained wire or too constrained wire, like over constrained. So I kind of didn't get to understand that either. It was kind of weird. So basically, I replied back to them was did they talk to Prusa about this, because Prusa's blaming them for the wiring and stuff like that, and basically, they didn't reply back, so I would assume they already talked to them. I mean, they probably sent them a whole bunch of it back anyway, so I'm not gonna worry too much about it. The well, maybe I could show this without. Go up. Why are you not going up to the other? So let's just go down here. Okay, so for Midwest Steel charged me $140 shipped for 4 pieces of 12 by 12 jig plate. So less than, was it like $40? Less than $35. Less than $35 for 4 jig plate 12 by 12. So the it's actually a pretty good deal, because most other places would charge, like in Canada, if I had to buy it, it was some crazy like $80-$90 per piece. So getting them shipped to my job site in Niagara Falls there makes sense, because it was like $150 shipped there. I get 4 pieces, it's perfectly flat. Then basically I'll use a silicon heater. So most likely gonna use a 24 volt silicon heater attached to the bottom of that jig plate, and have a heating with that, and that should work pretty good. The other thing is I bought a bunch of 400. Yeah, jig plate is basically the built for the you apply either PI or build tack on top of it, and you use it as the hot plate for the build platform. I was able to pick up some I think it's 350 or 360 long lead screw integrated steppers from AliExpress for like $40, maybe let's say $40 US each. So those would be used for the rising platform, and then everything else is like the standard, right? E3D and so on. One of the things is about the Duet or the smoothie is the firmware is actually surprisingly stable. The bad, I guess what can we say bad? What the reason why it hasn't been popular in the rip app community is because it costs. Like if you were to buy a real smoothie board to support the original designers and stuff like that, or the Duet, you probably look at $150 in that, somewhere in that range. I don't exactly know the cost. It's about $150, let's say. So about the same as a Rambo. Whereas you could go to AliExpress and pick up a cheap Rams board for like $6. So when you get guys kind of penny pinching and stuff like that, it's really tough to sell them on a board, right? That is going to be 20-30 times more than what they're gonna pay for Rams. And the other thing is that these are the same guys that you're trying to sell E3D to, so they don't mind paying $4 for a clone E3D. So that's sort of the acceptance hasn't been that great, but it is a great board, and the firmware is from what I've seen is ready. It's prime time. I mean, let's say with the smoothware, you set up a config file with all the values for different things like bed size and direction and like motor direction and all the other jazz, and then that file you drop it into your firmware folder and it picks it up. You don't have to recompile the firmware You don't have to, like down like do edits on your source file, stuff like that. So technically you could take that init file and move it between firmware versions, and it'll pick up the changes for you. So they have really thought about how the user uses it. So not everybody wants to kind of set up the source code to upload the firmware and everything. The other thing is that generally they come with either Ethernet or Wi-Fi, so they have a built-in built-in web server that you can use to control the printer, upload jobs and stuff like that. So basically, that does away with the need for like an Octopi. And the Wi-Fi is nice because then you send files via Wi-Fi. So, I mean, the disadvantages of using, moving away from being constrained by Fuso firmware, and constrained by MK42 and the Pinder. But like I said, the first iteration, just to see if the idea works, is probably still be with that. But once we move towards I guess we were calling it Haribo Cube XL, like the extra large, it makes sense to take another step away from that and sort of branch out. I guess I'm looking at it and assuming open source model works. Once we sort of do the same thing, which is have 20-30 beta testers kind of go through the issues and stuff like that, then I think once we release it to a while and see how far it takes us, right? Like the nice thing about it is that it's really for our own use, right? We're not like in it for the business. We're not trying to market this thing. So I think as a personal challenge and as a sort of giving back to the community, if we design something that works well and easier to build, and just release it out to the public and see where it takes it. Like, it would grow on its own. I know you guys know that I'm working on a Dbot and probably a Voon, and both of those will be Core XY printers. I guess there's some negatives on Core XY, like the belt tensioning is very important on Core XY. If you have the two belts that constrain the left and right movement, if they're not perfectly aligned and if they're not perfectly tensioned to the same, you end up having wobbles, and you have all the other issues with it. The other thing is the V on the Dbot, the V slots is not ideal. It takes a little finessing to get the wheels to move smoothly on the V slot. I had the same problem when I was putting the base frame together. Is if either you tighten the wheels too hard and it doesn't move, or the wheels are not tight enough, then it starts getting wobble. So there's a very, very small zone where it works, and you kind of have to muck around with it a bit. I think it's good once you get it working. It's getting it working, that's the part that's hard, and the community itself doesn't seem too keen on, like, it's not like, I guess I'm used to us having discussions about it. They're more like, well, everybody builds so differently, they really can't help you. So the attitude was a little bit different. When I go into Reddit and stuff like that and talk to those guys, it's kind of different. I think because like I said, the Haribo Cube will probably use something like the OT Maker with the rod spinning working as well as working as a rod and as well as a axle. I think that with the 10 mil rods will be pretty stable, and it's pretty proven. Ultimaker I think uses 8 and 5 mil rods, so 8 mil rods on the outside and 5 mil rods for the cross. I think for the first iteration that'll work, but I kind of want to go with 10 and 8, so 10 on the outside and 8 mil on the inside. and also more in a vertical orientation for the middle, so that we could reuse the existing X carriage, like the vertical X carriage. Otherwise, we had to sort of go with some hybrid horizontal mounted X carriage, which again, I guess in that case the X and Y carriages. It would be a little weird to sort of work around the two rods. So I think having a vertical arrangement for the two rods will allow us to utilize more all of the existing Prusa parts. Anyway, so I kind of tangent off there and talked about the Haribo Cube and the plans for it, and how it's becoming an ambitious goal to have it done for October and have it kind of ready. Let me just go back a few messages on chat. I think Phil was asking about production. What I mean by production. I guess for me, it's not that I plan to sell the Haribo or the Haribo Cube or any of the designs for that matter. Is I guess in my line of, like, I'm a programmer by trade, so in my line of work, when we say production ready or production level code, that's exactly what it is. It's ready for prime time. So whenever you hear me talk about, like, production ready, production level, or production quality, is basically something that's ready for prime time. So right now, I think for the Haribo, we still in the sort of past the beta, and we're sort of into how to put it, minor fixes phase. I mean, like after with the last week with the Z motor fix, and we have a few different power supply mounts made, and we sort of as a group converge on Meanwhile as the sort of the power supply of choice. And I sort of like that, because it seems like the guys in Europe, the guys in the US, and everywhere else is able to pick up Meanwhile, the same Meanwhile, at least the sizing is the same. For me, when I was picking up the LED power supplies, like the 30 amp or the 20 amp, from the same supplier, I got different mounting options. When I say options, I guess they picked it. They randomly gave me different power supplies for the same spec. So for $20-$30, I guess, like, they just randomly pick whatever they could buy on their end and ship it to me, right? Whereas if we standardize on Meanwhile, at least we know for those two models, one for the EU guys and one for the US guys, I think with something about the protection or whatever it is, at least we know that the form factor is the same. So when we standardize on that and then make the mounts for it, we know it's going to work for everybody. The other thing we need to standardize on is basically the IEC and the switch. I think Ryan and Pat was working on two different mounts for the same power supply. I think, if we spend the time and actually go and see if we could find the same form factor for the IEC and the switch and the fuse, then at least we could also then standardize on that, and that takes the last variable out of the equation, at least for the electrical. Now, the one issue that we've been having with the frame is the some guys can't get stuff from Isumi. So in UK and some parts of the EU, they needed an alternate supplier. I know we've been trying to work with T-Sun on this. I felt that we were a little harsh on her, because it was the first time that they went and did the work, but then it's sort of justified, because the quality of the counterbore and the drilling was really rushed. I mean, we could tell it was rushed. So I think what we need to do is kind of approach this differently, because let me just explain to you how things work, how those things work in China. Basically, um, she 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 acts like the middleman. A lot of these factories and a lot of these suppliers are not on the internet, or they don't know English. So what they do is they set up shop in a factory. They sublease parts of a factory, or um, a booth in the factory somewhere, or some warehouse, and then they produce these parts, right? Then in the upstairs office, they lease these desks, and basically these desks are where they work out of. So basically, let's say if I was a sales guy, I would lease a desk at the factory, and I would set up shop, and I go on the internet, sell stuff on the internet, and then when I have orders, I go downstairs and find the supplier or find the sublease that would do the work for me. And then once I do that, I basically end up purchasing the parts from the person downstairs, or in the old warehouse, or in the factory somewhere, and I'll bring it back to my office or where my desk is or whatever, and then I deal with another person that packs and ships them. So ends up that I'm just basically working as a middleman to connect all these guys and connect to the customer. So now that you understand sort of how most of these AliExpress and eBay guys work, or Amazon guys work, you could see that she has really no direct control on the guys that does the work. Um, I know it's up to her to do the QC, but sometimes, they like, if it's in a rush to ship it out or whatever, she might have accidentally skipped the check and stuff like that and shipped it out. So I anticipate that, we just talk to her and say, you know what, we don't need the lowest price. We need the quality of the goods. So if she would actually go and take the time to slow down a bit, find the good quality suppliers and factories to do the work, I think, we are not going to be hurting for an extra 10 euros or 10 bucks on the entire order, or $15 or 15 euros on the entire order, if the quality comes out almost the same as Masumi. I mean, that's it, right? Like, we're not trying to race to the bottom and get the lowest price. We want to have the same quality. So I think, me and Rob will probably end up talking to her, and try to set up something where we say, you know what, take the time, spend the money, do the quality checks, make sure that her suppliers understand that is a long-term thing. If they do a good job, they're going to keep getting repeat orders. Then I think once we set up that supply chain, I would be more comfortable putting them as the sort of the alternate supplier next to Misumi on the bomb. Talk about bomb updates. The other thing I want to do is at least temporarily remove the rods from the bomb, because I guess I already got confirmation from at least 2 people that on the X and possibly on the Z it binds with the bushing. So I think they being too over constrained on those 2 axes and is causing an issue. So I'm proposing that we temporarily remove them from the bomb, so that we don't get people kind of wasting their time and money on them until we could find a way to fix it. No, Phil, the not the Masumi rods, the Aegis rods, the Aegis black rods. I guess we put that on the bomb because people wanted a black rod option, and the Masumi black rods was way too much money. It was a good product, but it's way too much money. So we need to find an alternate for the we need to find an alternate for the black rods, or else tell people to use the normal chrome rods from Masumi and just live with it. Let's see. Oh, hang on, let me grab something. So I finally got these from the guy in AliExpress, shipped them to me, and I wanted to show you guys because I've been printing these. I got the other one. So I've been printing these SC8UU to LM8UU adapters. So basically, I slide the linear bearing there, and it's for the aftermarket wide carriage. I've been printing these, and they work pretty well. The only thing is the tolerances isn't, it's basically depending on your printer and then all the material used and stuff like that. So it's kind of hit and miss. Like this one is a folding closed one. I have ones that have a slot here to snap them in. So what I ended up doing was I found them on Amazon first, but then on AliExpress was much cheaper. Was these cast aluminum pieces. I'll send a picture later. You could kind of, you could sort of see. Basically, there's a circlip inside, and it's a full aluminum piece. I think it was on sale this week because the 7th anniversary of AliExpress. So if you had to buy anything, buy this week. $2. I believe it was $1.80 plus shipping. $1.80 plus shipping for a aluminum SC8UU. You could take the circlip out, replace the I-guess bushing, or just use these LM8UUs that's in there now until they go bad, and then replace them later for $2. You really can't go wrong with it. I think I could bring it up so you guys should see it on the big screen. Yeah, this one. It's crazy. Like $1.62, right? If I picked up 12 of them, I believe last time, is $23 shipped for 12, and you only need 3. I got 12 because, like, for $1.37 in the $1.37 for shipping, and you see down here, save $2 on order over $15. You basically get that ship for free, and for less than $20. You get 12 of them shipped to you. It takes about, like, these took me about 4 weeks to get, and for $2, you really can't go wrong with that. Like you see, sale ends in 2 days because it's the 7th anniversary. It's the 7th anniversary of AliExpress, and basically it's like everything on AliExpress is on sale. Like it's crazy. Like right now, if you want anything from AliExpress, just buy it now because it's gonna be the cheapest you're gonna find for the whole year. Like here for the Y carriage, I paid $24. Now it's $22.38 because it's 10% off. $22. Got that. What else you could buy on AliExpress? Oh, let's look at Rams, because I've been telling you guys, it's so cheap on it. Like, this is crazy. $3 for Rams board, right? Plus $2.71 shipping. That's $5 for a Rams board, and $10 here for the SWAT controller LCD. So I was looking at smooth boards. A lot of these guys use these ones from MKS S-Base. It is cheaper. It's like $42. The only downside to using these is these connectors scare me. Like these green terminals, they melt all the time. I guarantee you they'll melt. and uh, so genuinely what they do is you end up paying more because you basically use those terminals as triggers for solid state relays. You don't run power, you don't run the extruder, you don't run the heat bed off this thing, you run it off of solid state relays off of the board. So that solves your problem, but they end up having to deal with wiring and all the other jazz. But at least this one, it's relatively cheap. It's $42. You get it. You could, again here, you buy some more, you get, up to $55. You end up saving $6. So, that's probably something that I would look into for the Haribo Cube. Phil, I'm not right now. These are just ideas that I'm throwing out for the Haribo Cube. Are you guys thinking about shopping list for what you guys should buy on AliExpress? Is that what you guys are saying for the sale? I could do that. Like I could look back at what I ordered and then and see like what's a good deal and send it to you guys. I'll do that tomorrow at work. I'll take a break and then like tomorrow at work I'll go and pick out all the stuff that I think is a good deal. I think my dad also found some deals on not 3D printed stuff but electronics, like the little pocket keyboard things. I think these things is freaking cheap as dirt. Look at that. It's like get a keyboard, Bluetooth keyboard with a touchpad for $17. You can find it cheaper. I think like he got one for like $12 or $13. So these deals I'll find all these deals and send it to you guys later. The terminals can be replaced, but I think there was an article floating around last week talking about the melting terminal problem. It's not the terminal itself. Like the terminal block itself probably contributed to the problem, but it's really the design of the PCB. The traces and stuff and the vias heat up, and then heating up that PCB, the area in the PCB, start heating the connector. Then the connector starts to malfunction, adding heat to the whole thing, and then basically end up having to what they call it, end up having failures, right? So you don't really want to have to deal with that. There's my dad. He's back from his thing, so he's poking around. Hang on a second. Yeah. Okay. So I need one of those on-air boxes so that he wouldn't come down and when I'm on air. Yeah, that he helps a lot with the printing stuff. So basically, when it finishes printing, he sometimes comes down and checks on to make sure I don't get spaghetti and all that. So he's cool. He loves this stuff as much as I do. So you guys still remember that? He still feel bad about that. I don't even let it drop. I'm not gonna go and keep bringing up the fact that he messed up the PEI. He did afterwards help me replace a few, so he sort of earned it back, so I'm okay. What else are we gonna talk about? Oh, so I know we've been tangenting off so many different directions. Anyway, so I think with you guys support, I think we will end up. I decided I will go down and join Rob if he wants to propose a talk at the conference. I will go and be his partner in crime and Yeah, yeah. I'll get back to you, Chris. I found it. It's sitting over there, the pile over there. What I'll do is I will dig it out, do some measurements, and then make sure it looks okay to you. Then I'll wrap it up, and I think in 2 weeks I should be going down to Buffalo in 2 weeks. I'll ship it them there because then it's cheaper than me trying to ship it from Canada. So in 2 weeks I'll go and send it out to you. Yeah, I was thinking is that if I head down to North Carolina, I would love for you guys to sort of go down, join the conference, and hang out afterwards. Spend a few days together down there, and then sort of in real life kind of meet up and do and see. Do some printing, and hopefully by then I'll have the Haribo cube done. I'll have it there. You guys can have a look at the cube, and we can kind of chat from there. The reason I'm bringing it up so early is because I know we all have plans and we all have things to do. So hopefully by bringing it up early, we could make arrangements for carpools and hotels and stuff like that, and we could also all plan out the trip and give Rob a chance to host the first sort of Slack get together. Then hopefully be like later on we'll do more go back. I hope we could go back to that Midwest rap thing next year. That'd be kind of cool. So I think if Pat comes down to Toronto, and then maybe we could all carpool together and then just go down. Doesn't matter, whatever we want to do. So it gives us time to plan, because you think it's a few months away. Like it was right now, it's April, May, June, July, August, September, October. That's 6 months. It sounds like a lot, but to plan out a long trip like that and with so many people in different areas, I think it makes sense to do it early. So I think was it October 23rd, 24th. So technically we have 7 months, 8 months, but still that I would say let's just do it early, and start planning early. We could book out, like if we're gonna drive or we're gonna fly, whatever it is, we could all make the arrangements. You could fly. It's not that far if you fly, but you guys make the choice. I'm hoping it's not gonna be as it's not gonna be as 3D printing rip wrap sort of thing as the Midwest festival, but it's more like open source and I think open hardware and ideas and sharing and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to presenting and be able to sit in on some of the open source software stuff that I guess because it's what I do for a living. Like, that's what I want to kind of get back into, like learning big data and all the other stuff. So I'm interested in just going just for that. So, and I guess I have an excuse too is I could do it I could kind of build work for it, because like I got my training budget anyway. So I'll probably just go for a few more days, like October 23rd and 24th. Let's just have a look at the calendar. 23rd and 24th is Monday, Tuesday. Is that what the conference is? Yeah, Monday, Tuesday. So Monday, Tuesday. So probably I'll probably end up heading down on Friday, and then spending the weekend kind of dicking around, and then maybe even 25th and 26th, kind of like depending on whether Rob has time to host it for that long, between 21 to 25. I'll probably end up staying that many days just to, because that's only 3 days off for me, and start driving back on the 25th and be back at work at 26th. So that's probably my plan. I don't know with you guys, but I will leave on the after work on the 20th because I gotta be down there for the Friday night. So yeah, let's kind of use Slack and plan it out. See where if we're gonna decide where to stay together. Like pick a hotel and we'll book it there, kind of thing, and then see what's need to do around there. And then I'm sure Rob will be more than happy to lead us around and give us a tour anyway. Phil, that's almost done. See that right there? That's almost done. What else do I want to talk about? Anything you guys want me to talk about, since I've been mumbling on and on for like almost an hour now. I know I'm not gonna blow up any LEDs because I know Bean was doing all that and doing like all the crazy electrical stuff. I'm not doing any of that. Oh yeah, hang on. I'm good. So I've been crazy doing cookie cutters. There's a Cookie Monster cookie cutter, PTG. The comes out pretty nice. No cleanup on the from the printer. Easter Bunny. So Phil, these are going out to you for your kid, and you pick up the bolts later. Though Phil sent me the one I think it says MK2S on it. I don't know where he got it, but he sent it to me, and I'm putting that one out now. For myself, I'm gonna end up reprinting the two that I've already done. Basically, yeah, the one that says Haribo Edition. I'm gonna print that one for my own use later when I get a chance to. Kind of want to replace these original ones. It says original Fuso on those. I want to replace those. Well, let's talk about the clone MK42. So there's a couple of things I want to talk about. One is there's been some feedback, I guess, whether it's positive or negative. We kind of go from there. There was some feedback about how expensive it was, because I think that Matt has listed them for $90. I think that's pretty reasonable, considering he has to ship them. He included shipping. It comes basically ready to go except for the PEI. We're going with stainless standoffs instead of brass, and he's gonna wire each one with silicone wire instead of the lamp wire, and basically solder and mount the thermistor. So all of that work, plus like we tested that board and we know it works. The input cost for that board is crazy high. To get it working correctly with the correct balance of the correct copper weight and having copper balancing and all the other stuff, we probably bringing in like $55 to $60 in that range for each board. So plus the shipping, handling, and then a few bucks for his troubles. $90 is a steal. The other thing is that we're not putting a restriction on how many could buy. When we will have stock. Like basically we're doing 25 board rounds, so every round we have 25 boards available, and then he's gonna basically over time he's gonna have, as he gets more orders, the boards will come faster because he's ordering them and he's constantly restocking on them. So The oh boy. if you look at Prusa, they want almost $90 for the MK42, and but then they want plus shipping. So you're probably looking at $20-30 for shipping. Put you over $100 for sure, and they restrict you, right? Because they don't have it all the time, so you can't get them. Whereas we are saying we want to make it really available. So I think if you have friends or if you know people, that are looking for it, it'd be great to sort of help him spread the word so that we could get a constant supply of these boards. Because I know he's personally checking each one. Basically, he's gonna go and heat up each one, make sure it's operational. The thermistor is reading correctly, and he's checking each one for flatness. So it'll come like when he ships it, it'll be flat. He'll make sure it's packaged correctly. So it'll be a little bit more QC than I think what you'll get elsewhere. So I know there's some crazy Indiegogo campaigns out there. They're promising the same board for $30. No offense, I can guarantee you those will not work. We went through that route. We probably on version 5 or 6 of this board already, meaning that we try different copper weights and different things. It's not as simple as people think. People think you just take the schematic and the board layout, send it to a fab shop, and have them do it. The secret sauce is not in the files. It's hard. I'm telling you, it's hard. And the money we spend on prototyping, we need to sort of recoup that back. So the few bucks that he makes on it is just, we're gonna break even. Like, he's not like, I think we need to support those efforts. Phil, once you scratch your first PEI, or you need to print, you will understand why. Because like right now, if let's say this one got scratched up and I decide that like I need to print because I have a 3D hub order, or I need something done right away, I just take that board and I replace it with a spare that already has PEI on it, and I put it in a pile of the boards that need my attention. When I have time, I'll go and take off the PI, and then I might do, like, that's what I did with my dad. We did 2 or 3 PI replacement at the same time. So I have 2 other beds that basically is ready to go. So if something goes wrong with this bed, I could just swap it out in 20 minutes and it'd be done, right? So if you're not sort of in a mission critical, or you're not really that concerned about having a heat bed that works, go ahead. You could do that. You'd be down for a day or two. Phil, you gotta understand, like, when you replace the PI, you freeze it and then you end up taking the glue off and you put it back on. That's a lot of work, and sometimes you don't want to do that on one day, and then you end up soaking it in the bag and getting the stuff off. So it's like having a hot spare. You want to be able to just pop it in and be done with it, and then deal with the PI later. And that's the other thing, you might not always have PEI. So when you do have PEI, you get buy from Prusa, basically, then you end up, you might end up having 2 or 3 beds that is waiting for PEI. What are you gonna do, right? Like, it's always good to have a backup. So for me, it's like I've been trying to keep at least 1 or 2 laying around that I could swap right away. The other thing is that if we actually move ahead with the Haribo Cube, for at least for iteration 1, if we decide that we're going to standardize MK42, it makes sense to use a clone in that case, because then we don't need the motors, right? We're going to get longer motors and stuff like that, and end up the deal with the upgrade kit is not as good deal anymore, because if you don't use the motors, it doesn't make a good deal anymore, right? So that's the thing, right? So it depends. Yeah, well, like the secret sauce is basically like a lot of different things. Like even though they give us STL, let's say like they give you STL for the files to print. This the sort of semi secret sauce in that case is, you know, um, what infill and what percentage and stuff like that. Because even though they tell us it's I think it's 332 30%. That's a guideline for them, right? I mean, if you look at some of the parts, they're not 332 30%. So, you know, for some parts, they have tweaked it. They don't tell you. And again, like I said, that's the secret sauce, right? Like they don't tell you that. Same with um, like the terminals or the wiring or any of the other jazz that uh, and open source firmware or let's say on the firmware they did the Marlin changes. Um, Unless you're gonna read through it and do a diff between the stock, um, like unless you're gonna do a diff between the stock and the like stock Marlin branch and their branch, you're not gonna see the difference, right? Like you be reading through source code and you think it's all standard Marlin stuff, but it's not. Um, was it Marlin? Oh, Slicer, right? So I just got an email the other day. Slicer had a new released a new version, I think. So they did some pretty cool stuff. Was it this one? Oh, that's not the one. I got an email the other day. Anyway, I'll find. Um, it's not Marlin. It's Slicer. I know Marlin is a pile of poop right now. And John, you sort of joined a little late on the conversation. So what happened was I was talking about the Haribo Cube, and one of the design decisions I haven't really finalized on is whether or not how much. Sorry, I just whether or not. I guess the question is how much of the current Prusa parts I want to on and software I want to reuse on the new design. If we're not using the bed leveling and skew correction and stuff like that, is there really a good reason to stay with MK42 and the Pinda if we're gonna go with, let's say, Smoothie Rail or Duet? It might make more sense to do that because they already have a pretty strong following as is, just not as popular, right? So maybe we could just go with something like that, and we still go with like E3D and for the hot end and so on, and maybe we could standardize on one of the new extruders designs they got, right? So I don't know. I haven't made the choice yet, but jig plate for the heat bed may be a better idea than when we go 300 by 300 instead of PCB. So it really depends. Yeah, I think so. So again, I think one of the concern was, we're gonna have the same community effort and so on as if we move away from Prusa. I think it's both a blessing and a curse, right? Like if we stick with Prusa with the parts we are constrained. If we move with our own parts and our own sourcing, we have options. See, that's the thing. Like we do have other printers thing, and I think if I wouldn't necessarily rename the group, but I would just say we do the same as what we have now, which is have a like we deal with that in Haribo. We have to have it in Haribo channel, so separate from the MK2. I think deep down, we were all gonna have MK2 and Haribos. So like you said, like Rob said, it's like basically I think the Haribo Cube may be our second or third printer, and the Haribo based on the original MK2 design is still gonna be sort of a primary, maybe. So you see work on there, and then maybe the MK3 will be. Maybe MK3 will be something that we're gonna end up doing anyway, right? So maybe that's it, right? So hey, it's done. I'll let this cool down and then kind of take it up and see what it looks like. Gotta find it though now. It kind of bugs me. Oh, and the other thing you missed, John, was I said AliExpress is basically having the 7th anniversary sale. So I showed these guys some of the 3D printer pods, like the SC8 UU blocks are like on sale super cheap, like $1.62, and if you spend $15 or more, you get $2 off. So I sold these guys this block for the aftermarket wide carriage, and I guess they wanted me to kind of go through and suggest some other pods they could get off of AliExpress since it's on sale. I'll go through that tomorrow. There's still 2 days left in the sale, so I'll go through that and then put a list up somewhere so that we could buy it. Because like I was telling these guys, if I pick 12 of these up, right, it's $20.81, but I get $2 off. That covers the shipping, so it's under $20. I get 12 of these blocks. I only need 3, so you could get enough to build 4 printers. I showed them I already got them, which I kind of regret buying like last month. But when I bought it was $2. Now it's $1.62. So it works. First is like having to deal with the printed piece. The printed piece, it looks nice, but then you get tolerance issues and so on. So metal piece is always nice. I think that's it. I mean, like I said, I've been on for like an hour and 13. So we won't drag it on too much. I think today's Wednesday. Hopefully, maybe if we have some topic to talk about tomorrow night. I think Rob wants to do a stream tomorrow night. Maybe I could coordinate with him and he could host the next one, and I just kind of join as a guest. You let me know, Rob, what you want to do, okay? Phil, I'm gonna let this cool down, and then I'll heat it back up and pop it off. Sometime tomorrow, I guess we can meet up and you can pick up the screws. Anybody know how many 12 mil screws Phil would need to put his printer together? Is it 1, 2, 3, 4? I guess I'll give him 6, and then that should be more than enough, right? Because there's one for the idler, one for the motor, 2 for the Rambo, and 2 for the power supply, right? I think that's 6. So I'll give him 6 or 8. 12? 12 M6 by 12? I'll give him a bag of it or something. Chin ups on the Revo. Yeah. So one last thing before we go. The Facebook group. So I was auto added to a group on Facebook about the Haribo /Zeribo. So the top Zedmon, yeah, that was 2 too, right? So yeah, I'll give him 12 and let him kind of deal with it, and then if he has extras, you could keep him as spares. That Facebook group was funny because it was like there was nobody in the group. There was like 3 guys in the group, and then they basically was a splinter off of the original Bruiser group, and so I went on and I started talking to them about it, and they wanted to basically go with like 500 or 450 on the Z, and I said it was like it's crazy, man. Like, cause like having it that tall, even though it's an aluminum frame, is gonna cause issues. But these guys, of course, they won't listen. The group was originally called Haribo Cerebral Zrevo Group. So after a while, I thought, I didn't really want to be associated with these guys, and I didn't want to be moderating the conversation. So my last note to them was, I don't mind them using the source because that's distributed open source. But I said, and then they decided to convert the bomb to an Excel spreadsheet and doing all sorts of funky stuff. So what I said to them was, let's just drop the Haribo name from the project. They could keep using the source. Just go with just Haribo mod on Bruiser, and that's what they did. They renamed the group. So if you guys are in that group, they renamed it. So I'm happy. I'm moving away. I'm not gonna bother checking because it takes time away from what I do to check on them. And hopefully, they'll honor their end of the bargain, which is leave the Haribo name out of it so people don't get confused, and we don't have to deal with those people, right? Because we're gonna get some crazies in there. I'm telling you right now, is they're gonna want like 500 in the Z, and I mean right now I think we at 220. I think it's 220. If you go up to 500, you know how freaking tall that thing is. Like, is not going to be stable. But these guys want to try it. They're welcome to it. I think when on a Voron, the guy specifically tested the sag of the 8mm rods. Anything over 340, I think he said it starts sagging pretty badly. Now I don't know how it works when you use the smooth rod vertically, but I would assume it still has a sideways flex on it. So the design of the Bruiser uses the smooth rods vertically as guides to keep the gantry straight up and down, and the lead screw is free flowing, and it's really just to move the gantry up and down. If you get any sort of flex in that 8mm rod, it's gonna go like Z wobble like crazy. So I don't think it's gonna work, but if they want to try it, that's the spirit open source, right? They could take my code and try it out and see if it works or not, right? I wish them luck, but I don't think it's gonna work. That's it. I think that's all the topic kind of we covered this week. Be sure to check out the quick change extruder that Les been working on. I saw it in, I think me and Phil, we both met up with Les a few weeks back and we saw the prototype. It's very promising, just for the fact that we can have different extruders set up ready to go. So let's say you have a clog, or if you want to switch nozzles, is basically pop off the old one, pop on a new one, and you're ready to go. I guess for me is I don't really have a need for the longer, the quick change. So I'll probably get it just to kind of support it a bit, but I don't think I'll be using it all that much. But if you guys have a need for it, like especially if you change nozzles a lot, I think that makes sense. Is instead of having to take it on and off all the time, is to actually just swap out the whole assembly out for a new extruder. And I think in his PowerPoint he has all sorts of crazy add-ons for it. Like he's gonna get a laser and all the other jazz. So it'd be interesting, to say the least, to see where he's gonna go with that. I think that's it. I'm kind of getting thirsty and I don't really want to go on anymore. Tomorrow I'll join Rob's stream tomorrow. We'll work out the logistics. I think there's a quick change is not exclusive to Les, but I guess he's the first one to do it on the MK2. Don't know. Not gonna mumble more. It's 9:30. Let's call it and stream tomorrow.